Hi guys, it's Big Spencer here, and today I'm gonna make Katarina's daggers. Katarina is a champion from League of Legends, which is a MOBA game created by Riot Games. I already talked about the foundation of Riot Games and the creation of League of Legends in the previous video, so if you are interested, go check it out. Now I know that she's gonna get a rework soon, but in the video you're only gonna see the old character. I saw footage of the new Katarina and I think it's pretty sick. It's gonna make my life miserable in-game, but it's sick nonetheless. Originally, Katarina was designed by Katarina, who no longer works at Riot and was released on the 19th of September 2009. I didn't really find anything regarding her design. Well, she was released not long after the game itself made its debut, and it's really hard to get information from that time. Or at least I couldn't. And that's all about her design. So let's jump right into the lore, which is also very short. Katarina was the daughter of a prominent Noxian general, so there were many paths she could choose from. She could have become a politician, someone with a high rank in the army, but she chose not to. She could only see one path before her eyes, which would make her desires come true. The path of the blade. She was gifted with the talent for combat since childhood, and after she got trained by the finest assassins in Noxus, she became one of the most fearsome of them. As she felt the training was enough for her, she demanded her very first assignment. They gave her an elementary task: kill a low-ranking Demacian officer. As she was just about to get her work done, she saw a compelling opportunity. A chance so enticing that no one could resist. A chance to murder a Demacian general. She stalked him, followed as his shadow, making her way up to the tent he resided in. The guards were a minor hindrance, just a quick and silent moment of her life. She made her way into the tent and fulfilled her desire quickly and silently. But the next day, Katarina's overjoy quickly disappeared. She could taste the bitter end of her choices when her original objective, the Demacian officer, led his forces to ambush unprepared Noxian soldiers. The soldiers fought bravely, but they suffered huge casualties. Furious at her mistake, Katarina set off to finish the task she supposed to. As she returned to the camp, she had to realize that stealthy kill was no longer possible, because the target was heavily guarded. As she drew her blade, she swore that the officer will die, no matter the cost. She leapt into the camp as the wind pushes the seeds of a dandelion, releasing a whirlwind of blades. The coiled blades flew in the air, flew in the heart of the guards. One by one, they fell to the ground, getting her closer to finish her original job. And as the last blade flashed out too, she redeemed herself. She restored her honor. She was soaked in blood, bruises all over her body, but she fulfilled her task. Even though she just barely managed to escape the Demacian forces, but she did. She returned to Noxus, a changed person. Having learned her lesson, the scar on her left eye earned on that night is a constant reminder for her to never let passion interfere with duty. And that's all we know about her lore. Not that much. And her weapons are just daggers, so we can't really create a real weapon section for her. Because, well, I could say almost all the daggers are a representation of hers, so yeah, I could talk endlessly about the daggers created through history, but I don't really see a point in doing so. Luckily, she's an assassin, and assassins have a great number of stories in real life. So, let's jump right into darkness, the underworld of reality, and have a look at where assassins came from. Who were the famous assassins of history? First of all, let's see where the word assassin comes from. Assassins from assassin, meaning those faithful to the foundation. is the name used to refer to the medieval Nizari Ismailists, often defined as a secret order led by a mysterious old man of the mountain. If you are familiar with the DC universe, or with just the TV series Arrow, Ra's al Ghul, meaning Ghoul's Head or Demon's Head, is the comic book representative of the real-life Old Man of the Mountain, and he sacked the Order of Assassins, which in the comic book is League of Assassins. Many of the myths concerning the Old Man of the Mountain were put in the comic book version, like immortality, the Lazarus Pit, which can heal anyone, etc. The Nizari Ismailis were an Islamic sect that formed in the late 11th century from a split within Ismailism itself, a branch of Shia Islam. The first leader of the assassins was Hassan Sabat, or the Old Man of the Mountain, who is typically regarded as the founder of the assassins. But we don't know that for sure. He found the so-called Nizari Ismaili state with Alamut Castle as its headquarters. They used tactics such as asymmetric warfare, psychological warfare, and surgical strikes. If you are not familiar with the phrase asymmetric warfare or surgical strike, well, the second one means that you kill the leader of the enemy forces without hurting anyone else, or destroying any vehicle or structure. So it basically means assassination, which were primarily carried out with a dagger, which was sometimes dipped with poison. While the first one, asymmetric warfare, means the two opposing parties have different level of military power, and the one with the less power has to use assassination techniques. While assassins typically refers to the entire medieval Nizari sect, only a small portion of the order, the Fidai, were the ones actually engaging in assassination work. Because they didn't have an army, they had to rely on killing the leaders, the generals, the ones in charge of their army. And over the course of 300 years, they successfully killed two caliphs and many viziers, sultans, and crusader leaders. The Nizari were feared by the crusaders and anyone who dared to oppose them, who referred to them collectively as assassins. The origins of the assassins can be traced back to just before the First Crusade, around 1080. Although it's really hard to get any reliable information about them, because most early sources are written by enemies of the Order or based on legends, or both. Most of the information about the Order's work, what they did, how did they do it, were destroyed with the capture of Alamut, the assassins' headquarters, by the Mongols in 1256. However, there is a ray of hope tracing back to the possible first leader and creator of the cult, the first Grandmaster, Hassan Sabat, but we can't be sure. Although the motives for founding this order are ultimately unknown, it was said to be all for the founders' own political and personal gain, and also to exact vengeance on their enemies. There was a certain hierarchy inside the order. Below Sabat, the Grand Handmaster of the order, were those known as greater propagandists, followed by the normal propagandists, the Rafiks, companions, and the Lasics, adherents. It is, however, unknown how Hassan Sabat was able to get his assassins to perform with such fervor and loyalty. There are many theories, but we don't know the real reason. Later in history, the order was eventually destroyed by the invading Mongols, but we don't know that for sure, because the source of this information are the Mongols themselves. One thing is certain, the fortress was taken, and the people inside in it were slaughtered. Although long after their near eradication, mentions of assassins were preserved in European sources such as the writings of Marco Polo, where they are depicted as trained killers responsible for the systematic elimination of opposing figures. Ever since, the word assassin has been used to describe a hired or professional killer, paving the way for the related term assassination, which denotes any action involving murder of a high-profile target for political reasons. In the modern era, the legend of the assassins continues to motivate insurgencies and terrorist cells throughout Western Asia, which seek to replicate the methods and tactics developed by the assassins, who essentially invented the suicide strike. Which is true, but also not true. The order was lacking in military forces. The only thing they had were the highly trained killers. Suicide strikes were only carried out when they were captured, so no one could get any information about the coup. So yeah, they invented the suicide strike, but they only performed it as a last resort. Well, that was a story and a half. As a finishing act, let's talk about some famous assassins in the modern era. First, let's take a look at the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln. On the 14th of April 1865, John Wilkes Booth, a famous actor and Confederate sympathizer, shot the President of the United States at a play at Ford Theater in Washington, D.C. The attack came only 5 days after Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered his massive army at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, effectively ending the American Civil War. Abraham Lincoln's killer was not a trained assassin, just an actor. That's why Lincoln didn't die from the shot immediately, only during the night in his home. Originally, Booth only wanted to kidnap the president, but not in the theater before that, but he failed to do so. Well, there are lots of theories. People say that Vice President, who actually became the president after the death of Lincoln, was part of the assassination, but we don't know that. What we know is that not everyone was sad because of the death of the president. Some people said he was a dictator, others were not happy because they thought the punishment for the Confederate army wasn't big enough. There's a lot to talk about the case, but it's not the purpose of this video. If you are interested in what happened in detail, you can look it up. The second famous assassination is the one which caused the First World War. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, heir presumptive to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife Sophie, Duchess of Hohenberg, occurred on the 28th of June 1914 in Sarajevo when they were shot dead by Gavrilo Prince. Before the actual murder, there were a few attempts. When the Archduke's convoy started its journey, 3 people tried to kill them. The first one didn't want to kill the wife of Ferdinand, so he didn't throw the bomb. The second one couldn't throw the bomb because the police officer was right next to him. And the third one threw the bomb. But it bounced off the car right under the next car and exploded. The convoy started moving fast and left the scene. The guy who threw the bomb tried to swallow a sea leaf pill and jump into the nearby water, but the water was shallow, so the police captured him. Later, when the convoy was trying to go back, well, they changed the route beforehand. But the driver forgot about it, so he just went straight instead of turning. When Governor Potiorek realized that, he stopped the convoy and called out to the driver to reverse and take the car to the hospital. They stopped right where Gavrilo was standing. So he just casually walked up and killed the Archduke. The third and last assassination I will talk about is the murder of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States. On Friday, the 22nd of November 1963 in Dealey Plaza, Dallas, Texas, Lee Harvey Oswald fatally shot the president. Kennedy's motorcade route through Dallas was planned to give him maximum exposure to Dallas crowds before his arrival, along with Vice President Lyndon Johnson and Texas Governor John Connally, at a luncheon with civic and business leaders in that city. Before the shooting, the First Lady of Texas turned around to President Kennedy, who was sitting behind her, and commented, "Mr. President, you can't say Dallas doesn't love you." Which President Kennedy acknowledged by saying, "No, you certainly can't." Those were the last words ever spoken by John F. Kennedy. Later, Lee Harvey Oswald was caught, but while being escorted to a car for transfer from the Dallas City Jail to the Dallas County Jail, He was shot and mortally wounded by Dallas knickerbocker Jack Kirby. The whole thing is really foggy if you ask me. There are lots of theories of what happened, but you can't be certain. The modern era managed to brought us a new type of assassination technique, long-range assassination, carried out by snipers. The sniper is a marksman or qualified specialist who operates alone, in a pair, or with a sniper team to maintain close visual contact with the enemy and engage targets from concealed positions or distances exceeding the detection capabilities of enemy personnel. Just like Jin in League of Legends. You use your ult, then the Twisted Fate ults, and he kills you, because why would your team try to protect you? That wouldn't make any sense, right, guys? And that marks the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button if you liked the video, write a comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. And now, let's the fun part begin.